Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Sarah Riley, and if you're running a hospitality business, a holiday rental, a glamping site, or a retreat events business, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the accelerators that can truly propel your business from just getting by to outshining the competition. After 20 years in the industry, both running my own hospitality business and coaching others to do the same, I've seen firsthand what makes one business soar while another one struggles. And believe me, these aren't just theories. These are the core principles that have been tried, tested, and proven to lead to success. There's nothing like identifying a pattern and taking note of where it goes. This is how you can understand what you can do differently. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the Glamping Americas podcast, the place for inspiration about the business of upscale camping, glamping, and luxury outdoor guest accommodations. I'm Sarah Riley from the Glamping Academy, and I'm working with my friends at the Glamping Show Americas to share everything you need to know about new trends, events, business models, and investment potential in the rapidly growing world of luxury camping that delivers an experience. Interest in this industry is exploding, so if you want to be the first to find out what's hot and what's not, subscribe here and check out the show notes for more exciting news and links. And be sure to add the next Glamping Show Americas to your calendar for the 30th of September to the 1st of October 2025 near Denver, Colorado. I can't wait. In my travels, I love to chat to people who are just beginning with their projects, as well as those further down the road. I always ask them what they've found most helpful along the way, and I gather my list of tips and tricks from the owner's perspective about what led them to have the most success and what led them to have the most success fastest. I'm only going to share a few with you today, but I think they are some of the most impactful. These have stood the test of time. These have been things that have been shown to work time and time again. And it's something that no matter who I speak to, they always say this is what has helped them along the way. This is what has helped them become successful. So it's really important to take note of that, because if you're in an industry, knowing what works and what doesn't is fantastic to help you thrive the quickest. I love learning from the experiences of others. I think it's some of the most valuable learning that we can do. And so this is why I have compiled this inspirational episode to help you understand what you've got in place and what you might need to work on. This is all about getting your business up and running successfully and maintaining its impact over a long period of time so that it continues to grow. So the first thing I'm always talking about with people is how they stick to their goals. So how do they set them and how do they stick to them? Well, as for setting goals, we know what happens there. It's all about SMART goals. So this is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. This is the way to set goals that are going to get you to the place you want to go. But then how do you make sure that those goals happen? How do you make sure that you stick to those goals, or that the people who are working for you stick to those goals? Let me explain. We all want something and we all have goals. There's no doubt. Like me, you've probably been told that sharing your goals will lead to success. So you might share them on social media with your friends and family. But apparently that's all wrong. Oh my goodness, who knew? I've been told for many, many years, share your goals, share your goals. That's how you're going to be able to achieve your goals, because you'll feel as if people are keeping you accountable. But scientific research recently has discovered that just by sharing, you feel rewarded in your brain's pleasure centers, and that's enough to make you feel you've achieved something. So what happens? You stop working so hard. Okay, I'm confused. I really thought it was important to share our goals, and I thought that that would actually make it more realistic for us to achieve our goals. It is, but you need to do it slightly differently. So what do you need to do instead? Well, the answer is the science tells us we should share, but we should be very careful about who we share it with. So this is why some people have been really successful with sharing their goals and others haven't been, because it's not about sharing openly with everyone on social media, all of your friends and family, and they all go, oh yeah, that's amazing, brilliant. I'm so looking forward to seeing your business up and thriving and flourishing. That's when you start thinking, okay, I've shared, and you feel rewarded and you slow down with what you're trying to achieve. Instead, what you need to do is share those goals with someone you look up to and respect, because by sharing it with them, you will feel you have accountability. And the next best thing to do is to actually ask them to keep track of how you're doing, maybe even to give them some key performance indicators that they can ask you, have you achieved them? And you can report back to them. So this goes without saying, it has to be someone who will keep you accountable. So whether they have a role as a manager, whether they are someone you've worked with before, maybe they are a mentor or someone in your life who you've actually used their services, maybe like a consultant, ask them to track your key performance indicators. And this will really help you to move forward, because you will feel that you have to. And that, with all the world's distractions, is the best way to achieve what you want to achieve. The other thing that glamping owners talk to me about is not holding your cards too close to your chest. It's amazing to have all these fantastic ideas about what you want to do, but very often, if you keep it to yourself, there's often things that you haven't thought about. So this point often surprises people, because many think that you've got to keep your business ideas to yourself just in case someone takes your ideas and does it themselves. So they get a little bit protective. They keep their cards close to their chest. They don't talk through their ideas. But then what happens is, maybe you haven't thought about an angle. Maybe you haven't thought about something that won't work. Maybe you haven't tested your ideas enough and you think they're great. But actually, if you talked about it a little bit more, you'd find out something needs to be tweaked. Instead, what you've got to do is talk about your business, not just to your team, but to your friends, family, strangers at a party, even to businesses you'd love to collaborate with. When you share your ideas and your goals, you're putting them out into the world, and this has a magical effect. Not only does it set your intention and it helps you to stay accountable, but it also creates opportunities that you may not have realized existed. Doors will open, opportunities will show themselves. Someone might know someone who's looking for exactly what you offer, but you'll never know if you don't talk about it. So get comfortable sharing your vision, your next big idea, and you never know. It might be sitting in the mind of the person you're casually chatting with, and they might have the most amazing suggestion for you that will help you take your business that big step forward. It's certainly worth giving it a try. So when I'm talking to owners of my glamping club, very often what they talk about is about getting feedback from others. This is a really vital part of the process. But more important is the fact that you listen to that feedback and you act upon it is really a key accelerator that many entrepreneurs shy away from. Asking for and getting feedback can seem really scary. What if people don't love your ideas? What if they think it's nonsense? What if they've got something where they might say, oh, so-and-so's already doing that, and then you feel that your unique idea has fallen flat. But trust me, getting feedback from the right people is a game changer. You've got to invite feedback, but as I said, from the right people. Yes, I know it's scary. What if someone tells you something you don't want to hear? But here's the thing. Feedback from the right people is pure gold for your business. It helps you float the ideas that you maybe haven't thought of, test them, and most importantly, see things from your customer's perspective. This is stuff you may not have thought through at all. But the trick isn't just hearing the feedback. It's what are you going to do with the feedback? When you listen closely and implement what you've learned, you're fine-tuning your business into something amazing that better serves you, your guest, your audience, and that's how you go from good to truly amazing. So although it might seem scary to ask for that feedback, please make sure you do. But make sure you ask the right people. This is people that you don't have to explain your ideas too much to, because they already have a working knowledge of what you're trying to achieve and they already understand the industry. If you just ask for feedback from people who don't, they may give you something negative that will bring you down. That is not what you want. What you want is someone who really takes your ideas and runs with it and actually can see it from a 3D perspective or an umbrella view. And they can give you ideas on how you can improve what you've already thought of. And this will add value to what you've already done. So when I'm talking to people about what they feel has helped them become most successful in their glamping endeavors or their retreat events business, they always talk about how they're not afraid to invest in their business and they're not afraid to invest in themselves. Because here's the truth, you can't do everything on your own. You can't know everything on your own, nor should you. Maybe you need to outsource your website design. Maybe it's hiring a virtual assistant to help you with your customer emails. Or perhaps it's getting expert advice on your hospitality marketing and how you can achieve more guest bookings. Whatever it is, you understand that investing in you and your business isn't just an expense. It's an investment for future growth. Because the information you learn or the tasks that you have done for you are going to stay in your business, bringing value to you, bringing income and revenue to you over and over again if you invest right. The most successful business owners know when to delegate and when to double down on their strengths. But I get it. Knowing when the time is right, when your business is far enough along to be able to support others, is difficult. This is a really tricky thing to get right at the beginning of a business when you need people to do work for you, but you don't necessarily have the budget to pay for them. Especially if you're doing this on a bit of a shoestring, you're phasing your business and you're funding your own business through those phases rather than going out for investment. The key to getting this right is bringing people in for individual projects on an ad hoc basis so you don't have to pay a regular salary yet. And from my experience, actually, freelancers can work harder as they're really keen to keep your business, whereas salaried people can occasionally not put their full effort into the job. That is, unless you do an amazing job at choosing the right person from the start and they are invested in your success, which is perfectly possible. But in the beginning, you might want to just work with freelancers who can really help you along. When you're investing in yourself and your business, think about the long-term gain of that investment. So I'm talking about if you're wanting to get yourself some consultancy, how is that going to bring income in the future? How will you be able to reuse the information you learn and the techniques that you learn? If you're going to be doing training, the same. How is that going to stand your business and you strong in the future? What about asking freelancers to do things like graphic design or your website? What will that bring in for your business in the future? How is your brand going to benefit? How is your business going to benefit? And how will that bring in revenue in the future? What will be your measure of success after you have paid for that project? What we're talking about here is basic return on investment. So it's about saying, I'm going to invest this, and this is what I want to have as a return. There are so many people that I've spoken to and they've said they've invested in projects and they didn't realize how little return they would get. And that's part of the basic commissioning process, is understanding, okay, what am I going to get for my money from you in return? Having those key performance indicators and those measures in place and making sure that people actually meet them. This is quite hard to get right at the beginning when you're a bit desperate for the help and you're looking for someone to help you and you tend to just miss the due diligence at the beginning because you just need the help. But it's worth slowing down and pausing and really putting a bit of thought and a bit of effort to making sure that people are going to be held accountable when you're going to pay them to help you with your project. So another thing, when you are setting up your glamping business, your retreat events, or anything else to do with outdoor hospitality and luxury hospitality, you have to think about taking calculated risks. Some might say that the most successful entrepreneurs are not reckless, but they do know how to take those calculated risks. They research, they ask for advice, they weigh up the pros and cons, and then they take the leap, because sometimes you need to get ahead. You have to take chances. And I'm a firm believer that if you jump, the net will catch you. If you've done the hard work beforehand. So calculated risk can be the difference between staying stagnant or growing. So eventually, how you approach decision making needs to be based on this. Do you play it safe? Or are you willing to step into the unknown with a well thought out plan? Mastering this skill will keep you on the fast track to success. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, are we doing nothing or are we doing less because we're worried about stepping out of our comfort zone? Outside of your comfort zone is where the most growth happens. I see it time and time again across all industries. And this is where you need to think about, are you playing it safe or are you taking a calculated risk? This can be really key, especially at the start and the launch of your business, about how much success you will have. But please make sure that any risks you take are absolutely calculated, thought through and understood in terms of the negatives and the pros, what you might achieve and what you might lose, because there is always that moment when things don't turn out quite the way you hoped. But if you put the preparation in, then I have no doubt that those risks, those calculated risks, will pay off. So my next point is all about knowing how to do the work. I've worked with so many people who have wanted to set up glamping businesses, retreat event businesses, other unique hospitality in the outdoor luxury hospitality world. And there's no doubt that those people who understand how to work hard, they're the ones who get the job done and have the success. They know how to hustle. They eat, sleep and breathe their business. And that's actually the way it happens when you're setting up a business. And while working hard isn't the only factor to success, it is a crucial one. And I can always tell the difference between one person to another and if they're willing to put the work in. So someone who might be working with me to learn a certain skill, in between our sessions, they'll learn the skill. By the next session, they will have implemented it and they'll have results. They'll have something to tell me. This is what happened as a result of that. Then there's those people who won't go through those steps. They absorb the information, they take it all in, but then they don't act on it. It's as if they feel just by absorbing the information and knowing what they need to do means that the work will get done. But that's not always the way. It has to be implemented. The truth is, if you're passionate about what you do, it doesn't feel like work. Yes, it's demanding. Yes, it can be exhausting. But let's face it, you wouldn't want to be doing anything else. In terms of your business, your drive and commitment are what set you apart. So wear that work ethic like a badge of honor. You deserve the praise if you know how to do the work. So no matter what I'm doing or who I'm working with, there's no doubt that in this world of unique hospitality, you need to be unconventional to be successful. This is what will help accelerate your business, and it separates the true innovators from the rest. Let's face it, the hospitality world is pretty crowded. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're just blending in the background noise, the white noise that no one else notices. What you want to do instead is be a beacon, to embrace your unique ideas, to step out of the ordinary and offer something different. Now that's when the magic really happens. Customers will remember your business and they will remember it as one that dares to be different. So take the unconventional path, be bold and let your creativity flow. That's where the greatest rewards lie. There's no doubt that this is something that is close to my heart. The more unique you can be in a world of massive distractions, the more successful you will be. There we have it. There's some of the accelerators that I'm constantly talking about with other hospitality owners. This is what they believe is the way to achieve new heights with their business and what they have used to achieve what they've achieved so far. So how many of these are you already doing, and which ones are you ready to dive deeper into? Even after 2 decades in the unique hospitality industry, I'm still learning new things every day. I'm on a constant learning journey. This is one of the reasons why I love talking to glamping business owners and retreat event hosts all around the world, because they share their real world experiences of what's worked and what hasn't, and what they'd do differently if they had to start over again, which is really vital information for all of us. This is the number one reason why I love to visit the glamping show in Colorado whenever I can. The people you meet and the things you learn are simply incredible. And the fantastic thing is with the backdrop of all of these new structures, new ideas, new services, everything that's coming into the marketplace that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see all in one place. This is why I love going to these trade shows. I come away feeling inspired, full of information, full of energy, and ready to move on to the next step with my business. And I know from speaking to others that they feel exactly the same thing. They feel like it's almost drinking from a fire hose with information coming at you at once. You definitely need to take your notebook and pen, because the amount of information that you're given is just incredible. So being in a place where you can see trends in the industry, what's changing fast, and what might be the next big thing, this is a great way of understanding what might be your next step to success in the future. So what really makes a glamping business thrive from the start? And what do owners wish they'd known before they'd taken the plunge? So let's dive into some of those insights. So from people that I meet across the globe, I always ask them, what's it like to start and run your business, whether that's glamping or retreat events? Specifically, what do you wish you'd known before launching your business? Is there something you would tell the old you that would help you achieve that success faster? So whether you're just getting started or you've been at it for a while, this is the stuff that you'd want to note down. So I'm going to unpack a number of tips that I've been told straight from the pros. And by that, I mean glamping hosts, retreat hosts who have already launched their businesses. And this is what they would tell the old them if they were starting all over again. Firstly, is glamping a good business model? Well, this is one of the questions I get asked a lot, so I think it's worth repeating. The answer is, well, it depends on your goals, what you want out of life, and also where you are in the world. So in some parts of the world, the industry is a little bit saturated, while other parts of the world, it's really a young industry, so there's so much potential for growth. Obviously, some research is important for your country, your location, to understand the business model that you're thinking about, whether it already exists in your country, whether it's something new, how successful it's been elsewhere, and all of those good things. But when I spoke to Cameron from Sierra Escapes in Australia, he had a really interesting twist on it. He said, now educate yourself, sure, but I think a degree of naivety can actually be useful. And you know what? He's right. Sometimes we get so caught up in the research and asking endless questions that we delay action. So of course, there's this important due diligence that you need to do, but above and beyond that, don't let the need for information and research slow you down. Cameron warned me about the trap of procrastination. At some point, you just have to stop asking and you just have to start doing. But it's not all about money either. For glamping business owners, it's about the lifestyle. So Kerry, who is somebody I've worked with for years from Circle of Desire in Italy, shared this little gem with me. She said, if you're setting up a glamping business for a work-life balance and a lifestyle change, then my advice is to stay small. It will be more enjoyable. But of course, there are those bigger businesses that want to introduce it on a bigger level. And if you are one of those, it's important you just understand that ratio between assets and expenditure, because there is a magic place in that ratio. But if it's about lifestyle for you, staying small is definitely a better work-life balance from Kerry's point of view. From having launched 2 businesses in 2 different parts of the world, Kerry told me that scaling too quickly can sometimes take the fun out of running your business. She decided that the goal isn't to grow her business into an empire, but instead to create a fulfilling and balanced lifestyle for her and her family, so that she can actually take time to run retreats because she loves those, she loves helping people, and also to travel because for her, traveling is what lights her up. And having that freedom to do that was really important. So make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and you're really thinking about what's important to you and what you want to get out of life. You don't need to follow what everyone else is doing. Go big or go home is something that I often hear, especially in America. But it's not always that way. Sometimes it's about focusing on your lifestyle goals instead. And this is also what Kate from Round the Woods said. She talked about how she wanted to set up her business to allow her and her family to spend a lot of time outside, very little time at the desk. They have a thriving glamping business that supports their family, it gives them an income, and they have land and time for food growing and harvesting logs and everything else that they need to live a very sustainable lifestyle. For her, the benefits go far beyond financial gain. It's more about sustainability and a fulfilling way of life for her and her young children, and that's what they've chosen. So know what you want out of it and make sure you focus on that, not just what you feel you ought to be doing. So at the very beginning of a journey, people often ask me, is it easy to start up a unique holiday accommodation business? So here's some good news. It's actually easier than ever to get started in this business. Katrina from Beautiful Bells in the UK said she didn't realise that her idea was going to grow from hobby business into a full-time thing that she ended up leaving her career for, because suddenly she had this income stream and a job that she preferred. But while starting may be easier, challenges will definitely arise, especially as now this industry is becoming more and more competitive. And there are other barriers that are in the way these days that didn't used to be, let's say, 5-10 years ago. So this is when it's really important to have a network of support around you. That's why I've worked hard to create various communities, resources, and even a glamping business owners club where people can share knowledge and also support each other depending on where they are along the road of their business development. It can be quite a lonely world if you are a solo entrepreneur and you don't have anyone else to talk about business issues with, and that's where getting yourself a network and a group of people that you can talk to about these different elements can really help you stay strong when challenges arise. But one of the biggest things that people often don't think about is how are they going to attract guests? Time and time again, when I've worked with people, they've put so much effort into building their services, sorting out their utilities, putting in place their gorgeous structures, understanding what they need to do to put guests into accommodation and have a wonderful time on their land. But when it comes to attracting guests and doing the marketing, they fall short because by the time they're ready to launch, they're so exhausted from building their structures and their services, they haven't thought about how they're going to attract guests. This is when Tim from the farm camp told me, I thought it would be as easy as pitching some tents and watching the bookings roll in. But spoiler alert, it wasn't. You need a marketing plan. You need to understand your launch, and it needs to be in tune with how people book their holidays today, which is changing all the time. And actually, you wouldn't believe how people are using these different methods of finding their holidays. So Claire from Thistledown Glamping told me that she underestimated how long it would take to build momentum. So she wasn't realistic at all. From the beginning, she said she'd wish she'd researched the best places to advertise her business and to understand how she can get those bookings before she opened her doors. Because when she opened her doors, it took a really long time to get those bookings and that valuable income, which I can tell you need as soon as your services are ready, because you've been spending money like water and you need to start replenishing your bank account. So one of the things that I tell new owners, whether that's for glamping services, retreat events, or whatever, it's as soon as you start building your services, that's when you need to start building the processes for your marketing. And certainly there are things that work really well in the glamping industry that help you attract guests quickly from the start, but you need to put a bit of time into making sure that your descriptions are as impactful and powerful as they can be to turn people who are just looking into people who start booking your holidays, because there is that really important conversion tactic that you need to put into your text and your descriptions and everything else in between. Without that, people will just be interested, but you want people who are going to take out their payment card and pay you money to book a stay. That's super important, because without that, your business is not going to succeed. And although this might seem so simple to some of you who understand about marketing and understand that the guests are the most important bit, there's a lot of people out there who are so focused on creating and building the services and the structures and everything else on their land, they forget it. Build your business and attract your guests, and start both of them at the same time. It's key to making your life easier, and it's key to attracting the guests that you need. But with all of this that I'm telling you, you might be saying, but how am I going to stay motivated and inspired? This seems like there's so much to do. Well, there's a lot to do, but running a glamping business or any kind of hospitality business is so rewarding. But like any business, it can also be exhausting, and that is a normal, natural part of the path, especially when you're launching your business. And there's also those really busy seasonal times that you need to navigate. Those times in the summer, or the season that is the highest season for you in your country, that you need to think about, how am I going to get through that? How am I going to get extra help? And how am I going to stay motivated? So Sonny from Bubble Tents in Australia offers some great advice here. He said, it's not unlike any other business. To succeed, you will need to be malleable, persistent, customer experience focused, and have a great friend or partner who won't mind you having a bit of a whinge every now and again. Having a support system, whether it's a partner, a business group, or a mentor, is crucial for those tougher days. That's what will help you get through it, and that's what will help you stay motivated. And while it is all hard work, the rewards are huge. So Lisa of Oak Tree Manor reflected on how the hard work paid off. She did wish she'd understand how big the rewards would be, especially when the guests leave such positive reviews. She said that would have helped her get through those difficult days at the beginning when she was building her business. But now she knows it, she's just so excited to be in this industry. And that's the kind of inspiration that keeps you going. So what's your biggest takeaway from these glamping owners? For me, it's clear that while there's no one size fits all, and there's certainly no one path to success, there's a lot to learn from those who've already walked the road ahead, who have already taken the journey. So if you're thinking about starting a glamping business, or maybe running retreat events with your existing glamping business, or if you've already begun, these insights can really help you save a bit of time and effort, and maybe even a few sleepless nights. And don't forget, you're not alone. If you want to dive even deeper into what some other glamping owners wish they'd known before they started their business, so if they could advise their younger selves, what would they say? You can download my free ebook that complements this episode. Just go to inspiredcourses.com/wish8 and grab yourself a copy. So that's /wish and the number 8. As always, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a review and maybe even share it with a fellow entrepreneur or a glamping enthusiast or one of your friends. Until next time, keep dreaming big, taking those calculated risks and enjoying the journey as you go. It's the end of the day, you only have one life, and it would be a terrible shame not to enjoy the ride. I look forward to you joining me here again.